What's up YouTube, Jamie the Kid 00 here, coming to you guys with Tournament Diary 43, and this should be the last Tournament Diary for Mermail for a little bit, because I feel like taking a break. Today we had locals, as per usual. This is going to be the usual drivel that you always hear from my Tournament Diaries. I ended up coming 7th, going 3-2, it wasn't my best run, I had some kind of awkward games. But ultimately, I'm still happy with the way the deck performs. I'm not a big fan of this list anymore. This was a list that I threw together kind of as an experiment and did well last week. Thought I'd try and push my luck again and it didn't really work out. So I'm going to be going back to the kind of retrofitted Mermails. I'm going to be cutting like all the techie stuff and just going back to the deck which works, which I really enjoyed. Which I will probably play for regionals. So I'm just going to go through kind of my list today and tell you guys what I played against. Like, there isn't really that much to talk about matchup wise, but I'll talk about that at the end, I guess. So I'm going to go through it and start off with the big Mermails. So we're going to go with 1 Mermail Abyss lead, 3 copies of Megalo. This is basically the same main deck as you saw from last time, and the 2 copies of the Abyss Teus. The 2 Teuses are going to come out. They've been drifting in and out of consistency, and I'm tired of them being kind of inconsistent, I guess. Like, it's just not the way I want to play the deck. I appreciate the like mono Mermail and things like that. These are really good. I'm definitely not going to get rid of them, but I'm going to be going back to the Undyne variant, and I prefer the Undyne variant for the rogue matchups at my locals. If I played this deck at an event where I thought I was going to be facing a lot of meta, I'd play something more speed-based, like Mono Mermail, but I feel that going up against the locals meta, Standard Mermail, Undyne Mermail has the best generic matchup, so I feel that the Undyne Mermail deck is better for my locals. Continuing on with the kind of smaller Mermails, I played triple Abyss Lind. I still wouldn't cut this. Abyss Lind is the best card in the deck. Well, one of the best cards in the deck. Probably the best floater in the game at the moment, so I really like this card. I wouldn't cut it down at all. Finally got 1 ulti, I need more. So, sort me out with ultis, people. Then I played double Pike. There were so many times today where I found myself wanting to play a third. I still don't think I'll bump it up, depending on how much room I have when I revert back to the kind of Undyne Mermail variant. Depending on how much room I have, I might play a third Abyss Pike, because the third Abyss Pike would have been so useful in so many games today, so we'll see. And then to finish the Mermails, I played double Abyss Gund. These were pretty good today. They're usually pretty good, making me Abyss Teus, Abyss Gaios and Big Eye players all day. I discarded these off of drag downs a couple of times to get me some free special summons, which won me 1 game and lost me the other. But, I don't know, Guns are nice, but I don't see myself playing them in the Undyne build. I might tech 1, but again, I want to try and cut techs for just reliability. So that is the Mermail element of the deck. For the Atlanteans, we played 3 copies of Atlantean Dragoons, 3 copies of Atlantean Marksman, and then I cut down from 3 to 2 copies of Heavy Infantry, because this build I felt did not want 3 Heavy Infantries, and to some extent I was right. In some games I kind of missed the 3rd one, and then in some I was kind of thankful to have only been playing 2. So in my Undyne build I'll definitely play 3, because Undyne gives me more access to the Abyss Megalos to make these live, but I feel that in this build 2 was the right number, but I'll be going back to 3, because I like having the removal. Then I played 3 Deep Sea Divas. These were pretty good today. The only problem was I kept on drawing them on their own. Like, these are really quite good in tandem with like a Megalo drop and things like that, but today I kept drawing them on their own when my opponent was staring me down with things like Grapha or a Heavy Agent Field. And while they're quite good for like accessing marksmans, they're really come into their own when your opponent is on tilt. If you are trying to beat back against an opponent's good field, these kind of aren't that useful, so, well, in this variant anyway, so I like them in the Undyne build, because the Undyne gives me good access to Megalo and big monsters. So I don't know how I feel about the Divas. They're definitely a really good card. I think I'd still play them at 3, but I continuously find myself siding one out and like not suffering from it at all. Carrying on to the rest of the monsters, I played 1 Mooling Glacier. I dropped this a couple times actually. It was really quite good. But again, I feel that the Undyne build facilitates it better. And then I played 1 copy of Gauze. I dropped this once today, and it was okay, but could have been better. Could have seen it more. Then for the spells are really standard. I'm gonna have to try and find room for MSTs, because this was the first locals where I ever actually missed main decking MST. So I think I need to main deck it now. The 1 Reborn, the 1 Dark Hole, the 1 Storm, 1 Avarice, which is so good. I saw this a lot, actually, but I kind of drew it dead at the start of games quite a few times, which was sad. and then the triple salvage. If I was going to try and force in 2 MSTs, I might cut a salvage when I'm playing like the 3 Mermails in the Undine build. But I don't know, because salvage is such a power card. It's so good to have. I'm really not sure where I want to take salvage at the moment, but we'll see. We'll see. That's the salvages. That's the spells. Sorry. Then for the traps, I played 3 copies of course, good old Abyss Sphere. Sphere is just so good. I would never cut this down. You can make so many plays with this card. I absolutely love it. So, would not cut Abyss Sphere. 1 Abyss Squall. Again, if I take the Teases and the Guns and the lead out, I will put in Squall. Sorry, I will take out Squall, because Squall isn't as good with only Megalos, and basically only Megalos and Lins. So, it's a really good card in this variant, but on its own, I don't like it. Then I played Double Mirror Force, because it's still really good in this deck. I really enjoy playing the Double Mirror. And then I played Double Torrential Tribute. That was the entire main deck. For the extra deck, I think is exactly the same as it's always been. No, there's 1 card different. So, of course, there is the Ghost Token, Armory Arm, Librarian, Catastor. I made this quite largely today. Duloran, I got it to 3-5 today. Duloran was a beast today. Gungnir, I made this a couple of times. Scrap Dragon, I made this once for a win over a Chaos Piper player. Mistworm, never made this today, sadly. Gachi, I made this once for a game win to make Megalo big enough to kill. Digusto Phoenix. This is the new card. I took out Zen Mains for Digusto Phoenix because I never made Zen Mains in this variant. But I think I might put Zen Mains back in because Zen Mains was really good with Undines. So we'll see. We'll see what happens when I test it. 1 Leviathan Dragon, 1 Abyss Trite, 1 Bahamut Shark. This is like the first locals where I didn't make a Bahamut Shark. I'm kind of sad. 1 Abyss Dweller, didn't make this. 1 Big Eye, I made this like every other game. And then 1 Abyss Gaius, which is probably the most accessed card in my extra deck, which is really quite good. But at the same time, sometimes it was kind of bad. Like, it got Grafford a lot. But, shit happens. For the side has a few other techs in it. It was really quite teched out for this event, so I might have to calm it down, but I just wanted to play some fun stuff, you know? So I'm going to start off with the Lost Blue Breaker. This is still a really good card. I really enjoy setting this in. The ability to find it off of your divas and kill things like Fissure and kill Soul Drains and whatnot. It's just a good card. I really like Lost Blue Breaker in the side, so I don't think I'd change it. Double Veiler. I think I might cut these. I don't know. I sided them in today, but I never drew them, and I didn't really miss them, so I might cut these for something else, but I don't know what I cut them for. Double Maxi. Maxi is just too good at the moment. I might cut a Veiler for an extra Maxi. Don't know. The Triple Space Typhoon. I need to main these now, because just maining them would have helped me out quite a lot. So, Triple Space. Then for the traps, Double Shadow Mirror. I saw 2 of these against I saw both of them against a Dark World player, but I'd drawn into them, and he dragged down my hand and left them all in my hand. Summoned his Grapha, and I thought he was being silly and leaving it in hand, then he eradicated me, and I had these 2, and a Sphere and a Torrential in hand, and he eradicated me for traps, and then Mind Crushed the last card in my hand, and that was how I lost to Dark Worlds, and it was horrible, so oh well, losses. Double Iron Wall, these were kind of good, I guess. I drew them kind of dead. I drew them against the Agent player that I sided them in for to try and stop him dropping Hyperions and Chaos Monsters. But in the end, I just drew them with no kind of monster, no backup, and I just kind of died. So, Then for the one-offs, I played 1 Deck Dev. This is really surprisingly good in the deck. I never actually used it. It got Space Typhoon by the Chaos Piper player that I was going to try and use it against. But well, it's a really good theory card. You can make it live really quite easily, so I guess I'd leave it in there. But like, there were just no matchups where it was good, except for the Chaos Piper play, and I never got it off. So, well, I played the 1 Gozen because I cut it down for the virus, because Gozen isn't as good anymore. Because my deck, my locals is all the kind of archetype decks. It's very heavily Dark World. Like, my locals is so heavily Dark World. I think I'm going to be playing Fissure Wind-Ups next week, because I'm just sick of playing Mermails where you can't side the really simple stuff to deal with Dark Worlds and Agents and things like that. And just deal with the decks that rely on the graveyard, so I think it might be better to make a change. Then I played 1 Dust Tornado as extra back row removal, and then 1 Mind Crush for the mirror. But there was 1 Mermail player, and I didn't play him. But otherwise, yeah, that is my tournament diary for this kind of strange Mermail build that is neither mono Mermail nor Undyne Mermail. It's just something in between. Otherwise, I think that's about everything I wanted to say. To talk about my matchups were round 1. I played against the Dark World player who beat me last week, and I ended up 2-1ing him. He won game 1 through like drag down herp derps, then drew dead games 2 and 3, and I managed to play through that. Round 2, I cannot actually, for the life of me, remember who I played. I think I played against it was a Chaos Piper player. Yeah, it was the Chaos Piper player in round 2. Game 1, we basically we almost went into time. He stalled and stalled and stalled and stalled, and then game 2, we actually went into time, and I managed to beat through his plays with a kind of nifty Scrap Dragon play when I had a Pike and I topped into a Diva. So I managed to Scrap Dragon over his stuff, and I had a Pike, like a set dead Iron Wall or something like that, and I drove into the Diva, made Scrap Dragon, killed the Iron Wall, killed his BLS, and swung for game. Round 3, I went up against Noble Knights, and like I know you might be watching this, Ollie, but the Noble Knight matchup was very simple, simply because Noble Knights are just a really slow deck. Like from when I tested it, I really understood it as quite a slow deck, and it kind of was. It's really quite simple for Mermail to kind of push through against. Then round 4, the losses started rolling in. I ended up losing to another Dark World player. Game 1, he opened like herped up. Game 2, I managed to kind of play through his herped up and push for a win with I actually dropped Abyss lead using his own effect, which was really interesting. And I got a +3 because it was 3 Atlanteans, and I got a sphere back. So I managed to win by getting sheer advantage off of lead for once. And then game 3, he showed, like, turn 2, I think he went, drag down, okay, now I've seen your hand, summon Grapher, okay, set 2, go, Eradicator, take 4 traps out your hand, and then Mind Crush your Avarice, so you only have Lind in hand, go. And that was my turn, and that was basically the game over. And then then round 5, I ended up playing against an Agent player. Who round 1, I can't remember my opening hand, but I know my only live card was Lind, and I opened Lead, and I held off on the Lind because I thought the Lind would be useful the next turn to drop and try and get Marksman push in. And he went and summoned Venus, dropped 2 Shine Balls, Phoenix, and put me on 38 turn 1. I made a push with the Diva into Catastor, killing his Phoenix, and then he just dropped Hyperion and wrecked my face. And then game 3, I ended up I can't remember now. Game 3, I ended up opening up Gauze, Lead, and Diva as my only playable monsters. Well, basically the Diva as my only playable monster, and the rest of the stuff in my hand was like Avarice and like dead stuff. And he just did the same play again, and I basically just lost out slowly but surely in a grind game. It was a pretty fair game, but like I didn't see any Megalos and I didn't see any Atlanteans through the course of that game besides the Atlantean I got out of Diva. So it was kind of a sad loss, but well, you have these locals happen. But otherwise, yeah, that's about everything I wanted to talk about. And I'll see you guys soon with some evaluations on, I believe, the new Collector's Tin, because I really like some of the stuff in there. So yeah, until next time, this has been Jamie the Kid 00. I'll see you guys later. Bye.